Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Very warm welcome to everyone who is joining us on Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and also in person at the center. It's really nice that you make time to be with us on Thursday evenings. I extend a very warm welcome on behalf of Manhattan Meditation Center and Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center of Brahma Kumaris. So before we start today's topic, a little quick review of what is coming up in the next few weeks. So on November 7th, Manhattan Center is offering a 7-day meditation course, Reviving the Higher Self. The timings are in the evening from 6:30 to 8. Registration link is available on Manhattan Meditation Center's website. I will share the website link in the chat in a little while. We also offer live meditation every day in the at noon from Monday to Friday, Power Boost. I think when half the day is gone, it's good to get a little boost of energy. We also added a new service. We have started a podcast by Manhattan Meditation Center. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify as well as on Apple podcast services. There are a few other platforms which I really don't remember right now, but I'll find out and I'll share them the next time next Thursday when we meet. But just on Spotify, if you just search with Manhattan Meditation Center, we are easy to spot. And we have some short spiritual talks and short meditations for your guidance, for your interest. You can listen while walking, while driving, while traveling in the train. So it's just we are making an effort to provide you information in every possible way. Technology really offers a lot of avenues and we are trying to make use of it. So, yeah, before I introduce today's topic, one last important announcement, which everyone asked either at the end of the session or in the middle, the recordings. Recordings of this talk is available on our YouTube channel. We also are keeping the recordings of the previous talks, what we have. We have created a playlist which is titled Wisdom in Action. So if you are interested in reviewing any of the talks and you want to listen again, please do visit our YouTube channel. The Power Boost meditation recordings are also available on our YouTube channel. That's all as far as announcement goes. So today's topic.
You're muted, Anita.
Sorry, my mic got muted. So today's topic is what you consume consumes you. And our facilitator, speaker for today's topic is Dr. Rona Schweitz. Welcome, Sister Rona.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Anita, for this always thorough start. What you consume consumes you. Interesting topic. So we will explore a little bit more in depth on this theme. But maybe we can start first with a meditation. Tune your mind and as if step back from all the happenings of today. And know that you have an option. And that option is what do you pay attention to? We are most of the time very much focused on the things around us, the people, our to-do lists, our body, all the things tangible and physical. But we have the option to also pay attention to that what is invisible, to that what is intangible. The inner being, the one who is creating thoughts, the invisible experiencer. And as if step back from all the action and interaction and maybe commotion and even bodily sensations, and create that awareness that we exist as beings of consciousness. Like an invisible presence in this body, operating from behind the eyes. And like a tiny star, living light, the soul. This is the real you, the real self. An invisible being of consciousness who transcends the limitations of this body. Like the driver, and the body is the vehicle. A being who is timeless, a being who is a visitor in this body, a visitor on this planet. And just try and grasp this. Whatever happens to the body, whatever happens in the drama of human life, we eternally exist. Souls, immortal beings, beings who belong to God and are innately godlike. Free, pure, timeless, peaceful. living lights. Try and grasp this mind that is childlike and innocent and free. Mind that doesn't identify with things that are perishable and temporary in nature. A mind that knows eternity. Mind that knows the self as a peaceful, living light, the soul. Temporarily playing a part in this human play. One who is free, free from bondage, free from ego, free from needs and desires, content, like a silent observer. Connected to the Supreme, who is the ocean of peace. The ocean of love. God. And as we continue the rest of the evening and the ongoing journey, as we coming to sound and action, let us aim to hold this awareness, being these beings of light, visiting. Let us aim to observe, but not absorb the waste and the useless things. Let us come from a space of fullness, space of wholeness, a space of being secure because of being immortal. Let us come as observers, and givers, not takers. Thank you. What you consume consumes you. There are many different levels at which you can understand this. But of course, here we always approach things from the spiritual angle. And what you consume is not just what you eat. What you consume is also what you see. If you take it in, what you hear, if you take it in, what you touch and smell, who you interact with, your friends, or these days people interact with their computer. Even Zoom. But Zoom, you're still connecting with someone behind there. But all of those things we can be consuming. Someone is consuming movie after movie after movie, or television show or talk show after talk show. You're consuming it. If you're absorbing it and taking it in, it leaves an impact on you, and it leaves an impression on you. And it is useful to understand that. Of course, also what we eat, whatever the food we take in and put into this body, also food, it has a certain vibration. It has not only ingredients, physical ingredients and nutrients, physical nutrients, but it carries a certain vibration and energy. And the person who prepared that food, their mind energy is also in there. And if it is machine made, then it is machine. What is it? It is like inert food. And we take it in. One friend of mine says, when a certain person cooks for her, she always gets a stomach ache. And not because the food itself is not good. The ingredients are good and can even be tasty, she says. But when that person cooks the food, I get a stomach ache. So when I ask her why, she says, because that person is always a bit angry. Angry and impatient. These are some useful things to observe. But one thing is the mindset and the vibration with which someone cooks the food, but the food itself also. If it is food or ingredients or nutrients, how is it obtained? For example, is it the money that bought it? Is that money clean money? Or is it stolen money? Or is the food itself stolen? There are all sorts of vibrational connections there. And also one reason why, or the main reason actually why a yogi, a spiritual student at some stage begins to reflect on vegetarianism for example, is because of the principle of non-violence, the principle of absolute peace. If we want to be peaceful and if we want to have peace of mind, if we say we love peace, then our food, what we consume and what we put in our bodies, should also be obtained through peaceful means. And now, non-vegetarian food, animal uh, uh, products, and especially meat, it is not so peaceful how it is obtained. And there are no animals who says, oh, please eat me. Even if it is a chicken or a fish, no one wants to die. Animals also don't want to die. They would prefer to live naturally, but not. So this whole aspect of non-violence and peace connected with the food. But if I take that in, I am part of that chain of violence. And that goes in. And then my standards, internal standards, lower. And much of this is subconsciously. Much of this just happens to us before we were not even aware of this. I remember there was a time I grew up in a meat-eating family, in a meat-eating culture. But I used to love animals. And I never used to make the connection as a child. But I grew up in the tropics, in the Caribbean, and we had a huge yard. And there also at the back, we had geese and chicken. But some of these chicken, they grew with us. No? They were like from egg, mother breeds them, they were chick, and we used to play with them and swim with them, all kinds of things. So they were our friends. So when one day one of them died and the the servant wanted to prepare that, we were not we were not, as children, we were not ready to eat that. I said, well, this is my friend. We even had names for them. No, all the chicken, they had names, and the ducks, they had names. So I used to say, I will not eat. Okay. So innately, deeper inside, we kind of know. But because we do it and the whole society does it and everyone does it, you kind of become numb to certain things and we don't see it anymore, but we go on that. And we consume things that might not be of the highest moral values and standards. And it affects us at a deeper inner level. But this is what we're now talking about is food and the whole area of diet. But it goes further than that. What you look at and what you hold in your mind when you're looking, the feelings and the vibrations you're creating, it becomes you. It becomes part of you and it affects you. And this is where, for example, television, and these days, television is extended to all the social media and the videos and YouTube and everything. What is it that you absorb? With what mindset are you watching it? In the meditation, we were saying this silent, impartial, detached observer mode. Or are you watching it with that aim to consume it, to take from it? Then it leaves imprints on us. Now, and for example, the news, if we take certain things as information just to be a bit aware of what is going on, or are we consuming the emotions and the feelings also that are there? What does that do with us? What does that do with our mind? If you're all the time giving an example of violence again, watching scenes of violence, what does that do to our mind? We absorb that, we absorb that, we absorb that, and our standards lower. It becomes lower means it becomes more, we become used to certain things. To give an example, a simple example, growing up at home, we were not allowed to talk or to even listen to curse words. No, and not even curse, but you have these bit slang words that are a bit strong. Even that we were not allowed to say. And we grew up with that. And so when you hear it outside, someone say, you kind of a bit like, what is the word? Shock. The shock is a bit strong word, but you feel like this is inappropriate. But over time, you're hearing these words, you're hearing these words, you're hearing them on television, you're hearing your friends say them, you're hearing people you are with say them. After a while, it becomes normal. It doesn't even, you don't even raise your eyebrow anymore. You think this is part of normal language. And maybe after a while, you even yourself start saying them, certain things. If you are not, what is the word? Yeah, keeping a check on yourself or holding those higher principles. What we consume, we become that. and your behavior, your norms, they kind of adjust. So maybe we should be a bit more attentive, more alert, more picky with what is it that we allow to come in. What is it that we watch? What is it that we listen to? What is it that we pay attention to? Whom are we interacting with? You have choice. We don't have to just absorb and allow everything and anything. You have choice. Now, if you love yourself, what would you do? If there is true love for the true self, what would you do? You would choose the best, isn't it? Isn't it? So if you have choice of what to eat, then choose what is the best. If you have choice what to watch, watch the best. If you have choice with whom to interact, you don't always have choice, but sometimes you, at least with your free time, you have choice. Then choose the best. And not from a space of inner emptiness, just take in whatever is there. I'll go to the whiteboard to give a little bit of a sketch of what happens, what is the inner dynamics. But maybe at this moment, this is a good moment for some comments or questions from any one of you. We don't want to keep it anonymous. Is this better, Anita?
Yes, Sister Rana. Yes, Sister Rana.
Yeah, so even though if it is sometimes possible that you don't have choice. Let's say you're walking down Fifth Avenue, you do not necessarily have choice what is around and what is visible. But still, am I looking? Who, with what mindset am I looking? Am I looking, oh, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at everyone. And then this chatter going on, like this commentary going on, commenting on people's clothes and looks and language and whatever. Or am I that witness consciousness, that silent observer consciousness? And if I'm holding that spiritual awareness inside, then I also see others as, okay, I'm seeing the physical form, but I know behind there is also a spiritual being. So then I am focused and more tuned in to the invisible. I'm using the eyes not to consume and what is it, to judge or to to criticize or to comment or to what is it, to be excited, but just to observe, and maybe even to come from a space of spiritual good wishes, deeper feelings of brotherhood than, oh, what clothes they wearing, or whatever. That uh, taking attitude, that needy attitude. Then you take in all these things. Okay, so just to sketch in essence a bit of a map of our psyche, our inner world, and what happens uh, when we consume things. So if this is our mind, and part of the mind is the subconscious mind. Actually, maybe the subconscious mind is bigger than the conscious mind. But sorry, my drawing and sketching skills are not the best. And of course, there is the soul who is experiencing what is happening in the mind. The mind is part of the soul, but there's the experiencer. So there are certain thoughts and certain feelings and a certain vision and a certain awareness in the mind. And I'm experiencing that. For example, if there are thoughts of hatred and anger and feelings, it is experienced by the soul, what is in the mind. And there is the subconscious mind. In the subconscious mind, there are certain memories and certain impressions from the past and certain forms of thought patterns that are in the subconscious. But there are also what we call sanskars, like inclinations or dependencies. They are not like active thoughts, but they are there in the subconscious. Your awareness is in the subconscious. And from the subconscious, thoughts are created. No, for example, say, just giving a random example, say in the past, dog bit you. You had an encounter with a vicious dog and he bit you. And you had a wound and it took some time and there was a lot of pain. So that impression is in the subconscious. It may be years ago that it happened, but every time when you see a dog, what happens? Thought comes in the mind. Oh, dog. That memory gets triggered. And then thought comes, oh, I hate dogs. Let this dog go away. Or thoughts of fear come in the mind. And so the active thought comes then, and then maybe you behave according to the thought also. But that memory and that attitude towards dogs of fear and hatred, it is stored in the subconscious. It is there, but it is not necessarily active. Now, for example, now there are no dogs around. It is not triggered. But it is there. It can anytime be. And so there are many, many things in the subconscious that we are not actively using necessarily, but it influences our mood. It influences our thinking. It influences our choices in a subtle way. We are not always aware. For example, in your subconscious is the awareness of female body or male body. You don't all the time think, oh, I'm a female, I'm a female, I'm a female. But that awareness, that identity, that identification with a female body is in the subconscious if we have a strong identification with it. And we behave in a certain way, we talk in a certain way that is connected with that female identity. And thoughts come in the mind from that. So in the subconscious, there are lots and lots of impressions and different ego and different states of awareness of identity and place and person and connections. And they all want to put thoughts here and feelings here. Now, this mind, so this conscious mind gets impulses or gets, directed, you could say, by what is in the subconscious, but also by what we take in through our sense organs. Through, put the nose. They're supposed to be ears also. So what we take in through the bodily organs, through the sense organs, that also triggers thoughts or feelings in the mind, and it can also triggers the subconscious, and then that creates thoughts and feelings in our mind. No? So, for example, if this same example of a dog. Now, every time I see a dog, and if I then it triggers that memory, and then fear and hatred come in the mind. Now, what does that do? It just makes that impression stronger. That impression maybe it happened once, and it happened maybe 20 years ago. But every time I see a dog, it gets reinforced. It gets triggered again. Every time I see a dog, I say, I hate dogs, and then get scared and you want to run away or throw stones or whatever. It reinforces, it makes it stronger, what is in here. And so this impression becoming stronger and stronger and bigger, it becomes more, what is it? It dominates your mind. I'm giving a simple example, but stronger it becomes, it starts dominating. And then it can flood your mind. Even though there is no dog, you still have thoughts of dogs. There's no dog and you still have fear. Now we have another function, the intellect. Intellect is your wisdom. So intellect can say, for example, this is a bit irrational of me because not all dogs are the same. First of all. And not every encounter with a dog means the dog has to bite me. So that you begin to rationalize, you bring in reason, you bring in knowledge, and you tell yourself, look, this funny reaction and thinking pattern and behavior, it is irrational and it is so generalized. It is childish to be like that. So this inner dialogue. And so what happens then? My vision changes. And so I can now look at dogs and not condemn every dog as a man biter and as aggressive. So one thing, what you consume consumes you, but what you consume, the quality of that is also in your hand. Because there may be many dogs around, but because my mindset is now filled with reason, with wisdom, I don't judge or condemn or get scared or fear every time I see a dog. And so the use of this intellect, the use of your wisdom, the use of your reasoning power, your analyzing power, your discerning power, your common sense is very important. Now, say, for example, there are 128 YouTube videos. And we can be like that, no, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. What is coming in? What is it triggering in the subconscious? If you do it mindlessly. Mindlessly means you're not using intellect. You're not using. It can trigger all kinds of things here. It can trigger all kinds of thoughts and feelings here inside. And so all of a sudden you feel restless or you feel fearful in a certain situation and you don't know why. But it is because of what you have consumed and what you have stored in your subconscious. People tell me sometimes, no, I never in my life was anxious, but all of a sudden now I have anxiety attacks or periods, or I can't sleep. And I don't know, I didn't do anything, nothing really changed. But it is, what have we consumed? What have we allowed to come in and settle in our subconscious? What have we allowed to grow there? And it creates an atmosphere in my subconscious and in my conscious mind. People sometimes say, now post-pandemic, they never had problems socializing, interacting, or going out. Now they are scared of people. What have we done 2 years? Consuming all kinds of images and thoughts and opinions, and many times without a filter. without discerning power, just to consume, or anger of people, or opinion of people, or emotion, and the whole obsessive compulsive behavior. Sometimes it settles in if we take it in without any filter. You consume it and it becomes you. Now, shouldn't we be more picky and choosy about what we consume? Or better yet, not consume anything, just as an observer, note certain things. But what is absolutely useless, don't take it in. And certain things, we don't have to see them 20 times. Well, sometimes people, friends, or say, Rona, but you have to watch the news. You have to know what is going on. How many times I have to watch the news? Same news comes 20 times in a day. You don't have to listen 20 times to the same thing. And people get all worked up about this news, and then they again in the afternoon they watch, and again in the evening, and then late night again they listen to the same thing. And you get all worked up, and then you can't sleep at night. What is this? Yes, you know generally what is going on and you are aware. But then again, how much can you know truly? There are multi-billion, gazillion things go on in this world every day. Can you know everything? Yes, news only zooms into one or two or three things. But there, how many other things are happening? Even something like war, our news zooms into one or two wars. There are so many wars in this world going on right now, of which you many times not even aware of. So why not be, what is it? Discerning, choose what is useful, but protect your inner world. Wherever you can help, whatever you can do that. Don't close yourself off from that, but protect your what is this word? Your inner uh, kingdom inside. Keep this clean, because your contribution to the world in terms of its quality depends on the quality of what goes on here. If there is hatred and anxiety and fear and insecurity, if that is the vibe and the atmosphere going on here, then when you use the body to speak, what will come out of your mouth? Yeah, what is going on inside here? What is the basis and the quality of your interaction? Isn't it what is going on here? So be more sensible. Company we keep is a big area. Of course, YouTube is also company, mental company that we seek, but also people around us. We have choice to choose with whom we spend our free times. Choose to spend your time with someone who at least has same interests as you, has same, what is it? Interest in empowerment and growth. Anyone want to say anything? What you listen to, what you see, what you watch. Watch it with that wise intellect. And don't let just anything come in. Filter. How many channels are there on television? I don't even know how anymore. These things have now 99 possibilities. I don't understand.
Few hundred, depending on the package you buy.
Few
Few hundred, yeah.
And even one channel, how many programs are there? You choose, no? You have to choose anyway, because it's not possible to watch everything all the time going on. So choose wisely. And anyway, why do we even, sometimes you could ask yourself, do we even have to watch television? Life itself is a big, a big film going on all the time. Hmm? There are many aspects to this topic, but to also know that it will be very likely that we consume and absorb and take in whatever comes our way if there is not, if we operate from inner emptiness, if we operate from a feeling of loneliness, or from a feeling of victim, or from a space of neediness. And this is where spiritual practices become so important, where you begin to realize that you yourself truly are a complete being, an immortal being, and that you can entertain yourself with God. God, who is ocean of wisdom, ocean of love, ocean of peace. You can entertain yourself with spiritual wisdom. You can use a spiritual mindset to entertain yourself with the things that are happening around also. Then you are coming from a place of fullness. And when you're full, you give, you don't need. And so you can observe, but you cannot be. You can be not looking, doesn't go in. You're aware, but you're not obsessively uh, creating all kinds of thoughts and feelings and emotions about it. There's this saying, no? See and don't see. Hear and don't hear.
Sister Anna, there is a question I think somebody wants to ask. There's a hand raised. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to know, sister, that impression what we have in our mind, like you're talking about dog. I'm so scared of dog too. I mean, nothing happened to me, but if I see the dog is coming from one side, I usually change the side when I'm walking. So how do you erase that uh, impression from the subconscious mind? Nothing has happened to me. I mean, if it's far is fine, if somebody's dog, but if I see that is coming, then I just change. Even though they are on leash, I still change my side when I'm walking. So how to erase that?
One thing is to be cautious, but another thing is to be fearful. No, if there is fear, then definitely it is useful to come out of it. But this is just a general example. No? There are two things. Taking this example is through our spiritual studies and our meditation, that experience of eternity and immortality of the soul, and to experience yourself as a soul, not a bodily being. Body is just the costume, the vehicle. And when that experience comes of pure soul consciousness, fearlessness comes in. And more we are fearless, then whatever the situation, we can face. But other thing is to not act on that fear anymore, because when we act on that fear, it reinforces that impression in our mind. So to rationalize in our mind and to not act on the fear anymore. And then you realize nothing really happens. It's okay. But both these things are required. One is that fearlessness, that deeper sense of being secure, coming from that spiritual consciousness, soul consciousness, the practice of meditation. And then not feeding that fear by not acting. You're not avoiding dogs anymore. You're using your wisdom and your common sense. And maybe start with tiny dogs. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, but this dog is just an example. No, there are many other things. But don't act in a way that reinforces that negative impression. And don't create thoughts that reinforce that negative impression. But use your wisdom and your common sense and your discerning power to change your thoughts and to change your thinking.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other thoughts, questions? Yeah. Yeah. So the question here is, there are so many negative loops inside of us already. So how do we get rid of all of them? You bypass them. You don't, you bypass them. And sometimes, you have one medicine that is cure for many, many, many other things. Meditation and the experience of soul consciousness and the experience of the fullness and the joy of your belonging and a connection, relationship with God as a spiritual being. The peace that comes from that, the joy that comes from that, the purity that comes from that, the sense of freedom and security that comes from that, it as if heals the soul. And those old patterns, you don't have any need for them anymore. So you will stop nurturing them. So we don't need to focus on all of this negative, that negative, this, what. So, it is like a whole bundle. But the way to come out of it is to experience the opposite. To experience the purity of spiritual experiences, like love and spiritual love, peace, freedom. More we experience those healthy feelings and emotions inside ourselves, and more we start acting with that, then all these negative loops, they will diminish more and more and more and more. But if we keep nurturing them, and if we keep thinking about them, and if we keep acting in that way, they won't become less. You have to bring in something new, something different. Exactly. Focus on something higher, something fulfilling, something healthy. Okay. Let's close with some moments of silence. Absorb truth. Absorb from God, and then other things will. Okay. Have a good night. Anita, you want to say anything?
Just thanks to you and everyone who has joined us. Thank you for a very insightful talk, Sister Rona. And we will see everyone next Thursday. Good night.